Hey, my name's Tom Long, and my car is a 2016 Audi A3 2.0 Turbo Quattro, and this is On the Low. Why Audi? I mean, I've been a huge Audi fanatic for I don't know how many years. I started out with Volkswagens, swapped over to the first A4 I had about 2.5, 3 years ago. It was a B6 A4. I had that one static, exhaust, intake, diverter valve, nothing crazy, just a few different mods. Got bored with that one, wanted to get a little bit newer, so I jumped up to a B7 A4, still a 2.0 turbo Quattro. Didn't do as much to that one, just exhaust and kind of kept it mellow. I ended up blowing the turbo on that one, so kind of led up to what do I do next. And with being an Audi fanatic and working at an Audi dealership, I kind of had to make my mind up and see if I wanted to go new or find something old. And that's why I ended up purchasing the brand new 2016 Audi A3 back in November of 15 and just started it from there. So after looking around at a couple of the A3s and A4s, I decided I liked the smaller car. When I was trying to decide between the trim levels, I really didn't want to waste my money on navigation and blind spot monitoring, so I went with the Premium Plus. Still has all the Audi MMI technology, the Bang & Olufsen system, so it's got the 14 speakers. Thing sounds amazing. Other than that, push start, you know, just your basic stuff, heated seats, the big panoramic moonroof. And found it pointless that part of the roof was still silver, so I ended up wrapping the entire roof with a vinyl wrap and made it just all solid gloss black. I tend to stick with Audi just because of the build quality, the ride. I mean, they're luxurious when you jump inside them. I mean, and of course, you can't go wrong with the Quattro, the all-wheel drive. I mean, even though I park it in the winter and drive my truck in the winter, I mean, it's still nice to have the all-wheel drive. And speaking of Quattro, about 10 months ago, I picked up a black lab, and with being a huge Audi fanatic, that was the biggest thing, was what to name the dog. So I got a black lab that's named Quattro. She's wild, and she comes to all the car shows with me, loves going for the rides in the car. Everyone always asks me why the personalized plate for sale, or how do you get that, why do you get that? You know, I started in the car business about 5 years ago, started selling. Now I'm a finance manager out at Prestige Auto. You know, it fit me. This is car number 18. My lifted Silverado at Holmes, my 19th vehicle. I had 20 and sold it. So I mean, I've always been into cars. I've always been going through different ones, trying different things. Why do I spend all my money on my car? It's a good question. Just always been one of my favorite things, is modifying a vehicle or changing anything that I can about it. I love the environment of the car shows, and I try to go to as many as I can. This year I've got like 5 big ones on my schedule, and it's just always been a passion of mine, and really enjoy it. I mean, between everything that I've done to it, I don't even want to try and figure out how much I've stuck into this car alone. For my wheels, I went with 3SDM 0.06. I'm really a big fan of the spiral design on them. They're the 19 by 8.5 with 35 offset. The biggest thing for me is I wanted something with concave, but I wanted to get the best fitment I could. I don't rub at all. When I air it out, I can still fit a credit card in between and it doesn't touch anywhere. For the tires, I wanted something decently aggressive, but I didn't want to go with something ridiculously expensive like Pirelli's. So I went with the General G-Max. They're a 225, 35, 19. Super good traction, great tread pattern. Still looking at possibly doing something different in the future, but for right now, I'm still in love with my wheels. When I was looking at what car I wanted to go with, I had it narrowed down to the Premium Plus A3, but one of the biggest things I wanted to go with the sport suspension. Not that it really mattered because I already had the plans of going static, but I didn't want to do it right away. It ended up being about a month later after I bought the car brand new that I ended up going with something just mid-grade for coils. I went static on Solo Works. It was just an in-between thing, something that I didn't want to spend a ton of money on because I really had the plan of going on air. So I didn't want to blow a ton of money on that. I ran static for one season, and then when I parked my car this past winter, I got a hold of one-of-a-kind Eurosports and started talking to them about installing air, and it wasn't long after that I told them to order it up. So I went with the Airlift Performance Series bags. Only thing available for my car. I couldn't do the Slam Series, but if I had the choice, I would have gone with the Performance anyways. You get the hard and soft dampening and a little bit more options to it. Then I decided to go with the V2 management. I didn't need to be able to air my car up or down from my phone, so just wanted something that I could program settings in, and mainly just wanted to be able to air my car out and hard park, really is all it came down to. When I was doing the install and getting it all figured out and having one-of-a-kind Eurosports do it all, I decided that I wanted to go with the 444C compressor, just to fill up the tank a little bit quicker, and then also went with the 3/8" lines instead of the 1/4" just because I wanted it to air up and air out a little bit quicker instead of the 1/4". Static versus air, obviously on static it was bumpy as can be and just horrible ride quality. But it is what it is when you want to go low. When I went to air, I've been on it now for about 2 weeks. The ride's a lot nicer, but you still feel every bump. It's not like you're riding on a cloud, so it's not the greatest thing in the world, but it's a way of life. Performance-wise, the car's as stock as they come. You can line up to me at a red light and you're gonna blow right by me. In the future though, the plan is go United Motorsports tune, and then probably gonna do everything in the engine bay is gonna be CTS, with the turbo inlet pipe, the turbo muffler delete, and the intake. And then exhaust, I'll either do just simple straight pipe or the CTS turbo back, and get it done right. But other than that, I really don't want to take it too far yet and do anything internal or bigger turbo, just with how new it is. I really don't want to mess up anything too bad. The first thing I did to my car, was the RS3 front grille. I had it in for about a week and unfortunately got into a nice little fender bender and kind of messed it all up. And that was about the biggest waste of money that I ever had, and kind of at first started making me think, should I go back to stock and do nothing to this car and keep it as a daily driver? And after doing a little bit looking around, I found a conversion kit for the RS3 front end. And that's kind of what really made me decide to take this car as far as I have and to keep going with it. I found the front bumper, the RS3 front bumper, and got the grille again and got it sitting the way it is and decided to just keep going with it. I got the car back and I was still static then, and I realized that with that front bumper, with how much lower it sat than the stock bumper, it was almost nearly impossible to get into any driveway. I mean, my actual driveway at my house, I would three-wheel and almost scrape everywhere. I mean, there was times where I was running 20 miles till E and I couldn't pull into the gas station because I'd have lost my bumper. So I mean, that's kind of what really led me into going into air, is I wanted to be able to air up and get into some driveways, especially when I'm running on E and I'm out of town and I have no idea where I am or where I'm gonna find the next gas station. This year, part of my plan is to just kind of finish up the exterior of the car and get the cosmetics set. Recently, I just put on the carbon fiber rear wing. Just thought it would add a little bit of extra to it, break it up. Everything on the car is silver, so I wanted to do something that wasn't gonna make just the rest of the car blend with it, and it kind of just broke up the trunk a little bit more and really added a little bit of design to it. My favorite mod? I mean, I'd have to go with my my Airlift. I mean, just dropped almost $5,000 on it, so if it wasn't my favorite, I'd be really disappointed. So, I mean, it was something I've wanted to do on my past 3 vehicles, and finally went through and did it, and just super happy with it, and probably will do it again in the future on any other vehicle. My future plans for the car, I got an S3 steering wheel sitting at home that I plan on getting put in the next week or so, hopefully. Then carbon fiber rear diffuser just to kind of blend with that rear wing, and then be able to go from just a dual tip exhaust to the actual quad tips. And then the trunk, for right now, I just got it temporarily set up with just the factory floorboard in there. But the plans for that are probably going to just go with the typical wood floor, but something a little bit different than everyone does. Instead of just your typical stained wood, I'm probably going to go with like an antiqued grayish look, just to kind of to match the silver of the car. And then with the tank, I decided that I wanted the tank to be popping out of the floor and not actually be mounted on top of it. And I wanted to go with something that would actually make that stand out a ton in my trunk. So I had precision powder coating go through, and he did illusion cherry on it, and the color just turned out phenomenal. And in the sun, it's super bright, nice metallic, and when it's dark, it's just a super dark cherry. So I'm super happy with how that turned out. The first show that I plan on going to this year, it's Euro District. It's a huge Euro show down in Jeffersonville, Indiana. Other than that, a lot of stuff up here in Wisconsin. So I look forward to meeting a lot of you guys. If you ever see my car or see me, come say hi and introduce yourself. But other than that, thanks for checking out my episode of On the Low.